What if miracles aren't magic? What if miracles aren't magical at all, but the result of understanding a higher law? The masters of the Far East didn't perform tricks or defy nature. They moved in harmony with it, so deeply attuned to divine principles that what seemed impossible to others became effortless for them. They walked on water, manifested food, healed without touch, not because they were superhuman, but because they were fully human, awakened to truth. This video isn't about mystery, it's about mastery. We'll explore what really powered the miracles you've read about, and more importantly, how that same wisdom lives within you. If you're ready to discover the truth behind these timeless teachings, subscribe now and walk with us through the hidden path. What is a miracle? According to the masters, a miracle was not a violation of natural law. It was the most perfect expression of it. They understood something few people do, that spirit governs matter, and when consciousness aligns with divine principle, results follow instantly. What we call miracles, they called right understanding. They didn't see healing the sick, calming storms, or manifesting food as supernatural. They saw those acts as the natural outpouring of divine law through a pure vessel. A miracle is simply truth made visible, truth so deeply known that it becomes form. They live by the eternal principle. These things you see us do, you too shall do, and greater. And they meant it. To them, every so-called miracle was the result of alignment, not effort, of knowing, not hoping. When the master walked on water, it was not to impress. It was because he saw no separation between thought and form, between divine will and physical law. He knew, and the moment he knew, reality responded. The world bends not for the one who believes strongly, but for the one who knows simply. The masters were not asking reality to change. They were standing in the truth that it already had. This is the shift we're invited to make. Not to beg for the miraculous, but to embody the truth so deeply that the miraculous becomes ordinary. The source of power, alignment, not effort. The power behind the miracles did not come from effort. It came from alignment. The masters were not trying to make things happen. They were living in union with the one through which all things already exist. They understood that divine mind is the true creator, and when one's consciousness aligns with that mind, perfectly, silently, fully, creation responds without resistance. They did not strain, they did not plead. They knew, and from that knowing, they spoke the word, and it became so. They knew, and spoke the word, and it became so. There was no drama, no magic, just truth flowing through the one who had emptied himself of ego and become a vessel of pure intent. When a master walked upon water, it was not an act against the laws of nature. It was nature responding to a greater order. The water did not resist because the master was not separate from it. He was one with the infinite. And in that unity, all elements obeyed. This is the hidden power. Miracles don't require force, they require resonance. Like a tuning fork striking the perfect pitch, the master's mind harmonized with divine law, and the material world shifted to match. You see, the universe does not respond to desperate prayers or scattered thoughts. It responds to clear, unwavering knowing, born from deep union with the source. That's why the masters never hesitated. They didn't ask, "Can this happen?" They lived in a consciousness where it already had. So the lesson is this: you are not here to force change. You are here to remember who you are, align with truth, and allow life to unfold from that space of perfect clarity. True power flows not from effort, but from alignment with the infinite. Hidden wisdom. Number 1, stillness before action. The first secret behind the master's power wasn't what they did. It was how deeply they listened. Before every miracle, before every teaching, before every word, there was always one thing first: stillness. They paused. They withdrew into inner silence. And from that sacred place, they knew what to do without confusion, without effort. The temple of silence was not a building. It was a state of consciousness. It was the still center within, where the master entered before any outward expression. In the silence of the mind, all things are revealed. Stillness to them was not a lack of motion. It was a return to source, a gateway, a throne room. While others searched outwardly, the masters turned inward because they understood stillness is not empty, it is full of knowing. It is in this stillness that divine mind speaks, not with sound, but with clarity, not with noise, but with immediate knowing. And when that knowing comes, there is no hesitation, the action is effortless, and the result is sure. The world today glorifies urgency, but the masters demonstrated that true spiritual action is born from stillness, not speed. They never reacted. They responded from presence. Before healing, they listened. Before speaking, they attuned. Before manifesting, they became still enough to see what already was. This is the first hidden wisdom behind their miracles. Power begins in silence. Miracles are conceived in stillness. When you enter that space, pure, quiet, aligned, you don't guess, you know. Hidden wisdom. Number 2, the power of pure thought. The masters knew. Thought is not just internal, it is formative. It is law. Every miracle they performed began not with the hands, not with movement, not even with words, but with a single, pure, unwavering thought. They understood that the universe is mental in nature. All form is preceded by image. All reality preceded by consciousness. So the master spent no time doubting or rehearsing. He simply held the image, and reality obeyed. The master sees no separation between the inner image and the outer result. To the untrained mind, a thought is fleeting. To the master, a thought is a blueprint, a seed planted in the fabric of reality. And when it is held with clarity, with purity, and with full belief, it must manifest. Why don't most people experience this? Because their thoughts waver. They hope, then they doubt. They plant a seed, then dig it up in fear. But the master holds one image, quiet, clear, and absolute. That is the power. No second guessing, no contradiction, no need for proof. Just a deep inner vision of what is, and the refusal to entertain anything else. Here is a simple exercise. Take one elevated thought, I am whole, or I am one with divine power, and hold it without interruption for 5 minutes each day. Let no opposing image enter. Let your mind become as still and sharp as the master's. At first, the world outside may look the same, but within, something eternal will begin to shift. And soon that inner image, the thought born in divine silence, will become form. Not through effort, but through alignment. This is the power of pure thought, to know that what is unseen is already real, and to hold it until the world agrees. Hidden wisdom number 3, words spoken with authority. The masters did not wish for healing. They didn't beg for peace or plead for supply. They spoke the word, and it was so. Their words were not empty sounds. They were vibrational commands aligned with divine law, spoken from a place of absolute inner knowing. Speak the word, and the word shall not return void. To the masters, the spoken word was sacred because it carried the resonance of thought made manifest. Once the inner image was clear and unwavering, it was released into the world through speech charged with power. They didn't say, I hope this happens. They said, it is done. That is the living word, not casual conversation, not idle chatter, but speech born from alignment. The word becomes a bridge between the invisible and the visible. Once spoken in divine authority, the word calls reality into shape, like light responding to command. And what gave their words such weight? Not volume, not repetition, but purity. They only spoke after thought had settled in silence and merged with universal law. They didn't speak to test the law, they spoke because they were one with it. This is why their words never failed. They were not requests, they were releases. A master might say, rise and walk. Not because he was trying to heal, but because in his sight, the person was already whole, and the words simply made it visible. To walk the path of the masters, begin to honor your words. Don't speak in fear. Don't speak from lack. Speak what is true, what is aligned, what is divine. Every time you speak from that place, the universe listens, and it responds without fail. Hidden wisdom number 4. Seeing the divine in all the masters perform miracles not because they change people, but because they refused to see imperfection. They didn't look at a sick body and see illness. They looked and saw wholeness, radiant, untouched, eternal. And by holding that vision, the illusion of sickness dissolved. This is the hidden wisdom. The act of healing isn't about fixing something broken. It's about seeing through the veil, through the appearance of disorder, and calling forth what's already perfect beneath it. The masters didn't project healing onto others. They simply withheld belief in the lie. They didn't see a broken man. They saw God in human form, temporarily unaware of his divinity. They saw what was, not what seemed to be, and as their vision remained steady, the person before them rose to match it. Miracles arise when we learn to see as the masters see, not with the eyes but with the spirit. This is more than positive thinking. It is divine perception. When you look at someone struggling and instead of pity, you hold them in the light of truth, you activate the same principle the masters used. It's not about what you do, it's about what you behold. And when your sight is clear, the world reflects it. This is why the master could speak one word, be whole, and it was done, because in his eyes they already were. Hidden wisdom number 5. No ego, no resistance. The masters were powerful, but not because they tried to be. Their power flowed because they were empty. Empty of pride, empty of self-importance, empty of the need to prove. No ego, no resistance. This was one of their greatest secrets. The less of me, the more of truth. The less they tried to control, the more effortlessly creation responded. To the ego, power is something to be grasped. To the master, power is something that flows through when there is nothing to block it. They did not seek recognition. They did not perform miracles to gain status. They had no need to be admired because they knew who they were, a vessel of the infinite. I of myself can do nothing, one master said. The Father within me, he doeth the works. This is not false humility, it is spiritual maturity. The ego resists life, fears failure, seeks validation. The master simply is, open, clear, surrendered. And in that surrender, miracles become natural. Their silence was louder than shouting, their stillness more powerful than force. Their presence alone was enough to shift the atmosphere, because they carried no resistance within. To walk in this wisdom is to let go of self-definition, to release the need to be right, or great, or spiritual. Instead, we become empty enough for the divine to speak, move, and create through us. This is the hidden path, not doing more, but being less, not becoming grand, but becoming clear. The masters teach us, it is not the self that manifests miracles, it is the surrender of it. Real-life application, awakening the power within you. So how do we begin to walk in the same wisdom? How do we activate the power behind the miracles in our lives? The masters didn't possess a secret that you lack. They simply removed what blocked the truth that was always there, and you can do the same. Start with silence. Each day, take a few minutes to sit in stillness, not to get answers, but to reconnect with the source within. Then move to clarity of thought. Choose one elevated thought. I am whole. I walk in peace. My needs are met. And hold it without contradiction. Be ruthless about what you allow into your inner space. You are cultivating the garden where miracles grow. Now speak intentionally. Don't talk about what's wrong. Speak only what is aligned with truth. Let your words come from your knowing, not your fear. Then most powerfully, live as if what you believe is already real. Don't wait to feel worthy. Don't wait to see evidence. Begin to act, speak, and respond as if your vision is already fulfilled, because to the master, it is. Ask yourself the simple question, where in my life am I still pushing, striving, forcing? And then ask, where can I replace effort with alignment? You don't need to fight for your miracle. You need only to align with the truth of it and let it unfold. The moment you return to inner stillness, the moment your thought becomes clear and your speech becomes sacred, you step into the same current of power that flowed through the masters. Not later. Now you are not separate from the power. Here's the final truth. You don't have to become a master. You already are. The difference between you and the ones who walked on water, multiplied loaves, or healed with a word is not distance. It is only remembrance. The miracles do not come from striving. They come when you return to your original state, aligned, still, certain. This power was never outside you. It was never earned. It has only ever waited to be remembered. The same light in the masters is the light in you. Let that settle in. So the question is not, can I perform miracles? It is, am I willing to see clearly enough to stop doubting that I already can? You are not here to be impressed by the stories. You are here to walk them out. With every silent word, every still breath, every pure thought you carry. Walk the path with us. What hidden wisdom spoke most to you today? Was it the stillness? The power of thought? The clarity of word? Let us know in the comments below. Your insight might spark something in someone else's journey. And if this message stirred something inside you, hit subscribe, like, and share with someone ready to remember who they truly are. This path is not for the few, it is for the awakened. And that awakening begins now.